Hi everybody, welcome to another edition of TADTalk. I'm just looking at this photo behind me. It looks like our guest today is about to chew my head off. From
why is Mom on?
Yeah, exactly. That could have happened too. But we're going up north of the border, Canada in specific. And I didn't know this band, ignorantly so, till a couple of years ago. And boy, what a band they are. Nick's with me here today.
Hello, everyone.
Of course, he knows a little bit more about Canada than I do. But do you remember that time on that cruise, which I'm sure we're going to get into?
Oh, yes, definitely. And I knew them before the cruise, but again, we'll get into it after we show a video
Absolutely.
of these guys. Yeah.
Well, our special guest is Dan Clancy. If you're not Canadian, who's Dan Clancy? Well, just check out this video.
I should have worked so hard. Sit and dream about the days to come. Have my breath just soaking up the sun. Sitting here, I hope I don't get fried. 2 years ago, you know I almost died. And yet there's nothing better for your soul. Lying in the sun and listen to rock and roll. The sun rejuvenate your mind. Don't get me wrong, I really dig the mood, but it was 4 in the afternoon when I wrote this tune. And now the sun's about to fade away. I'm feeling better than I felt for days. You know there's nothing better for your soul. Lying in the sun and listen to rock and roll. Sunday. Jellyfish. It's so great to be back home here.
Pretty spectacular, actually, isn't it? Sunny Days, what a song.
I love
Oh my
that
God.
song.
Welcome to the show. Our special guest, Dan Clancy. Dan, how are you?
Very well. How are you both?
Awesome.
Fantastic. Great to have you on the show. I have to do a precursor here, and that is, so ignorantly, I knew nothing about you and Lighthouse until a couple of years ago when we went on this cruise. And Nick had been telling me about the band, and I was ignoring him too, until I heard you play Sunny Days. And to say I was blown away is an understatement. The band were kick-ass.
That's very, very kind of you. Thank you, Terry. Very kind.
So good.
It's so. I mean, it's one of those things, and you shouldn't beat yourself up too much about it, because until I started dating Julia, who you've known for quite a while now, I didn't really delve into the whole Canadian music scene as much as I have now, because obviously we're riding in the car to gigs, and she has a Canada playlist on her phone, and it's just going through all these bands who no one outside of Canada, despite the success they've had in Canada, really know. And
Well, we know Bublé and Shania Twain and Bryan Adams, but what don't we know?
Well, Lighthouse obviously is one of them, but then you have bands like Great Big Sea, you have the Tragically Hip, and all the Americans watching right now have absolutely no idea what I'm saying, and we'll get into all of this, but Lighthouse, I think, was the first band that Julia showed me, and Sunny Days was the first song that she showed me, and it just had that awesome, like, 60s rock and roll sound with huge harmonies and great musicianship, and it's just a fun song and a jam. And you know, when we went on the cruise, I was excited to see you guys perform, but obviously sometimes when bands perform songs that have as much bells and whistles in it as Sunny Days does, sometimes it might fall short, because performing things live is a lot different than, you know, having as many takes in a studio as you want. But they play it live and it sounds just like the record, and the talent does not diminish on stage. If anything, it's heightened. So it was an absolute treat seeing you guys perform on that cruise.
Thank you, Nick. That's really kind of you. I very much appreciate that. Thanks.
It was killer. Well, we start TADTalk every day, Dan, with a random question that has got nothing to do with you and nothing to do with the music industry. So I'm going to hand it over to Nick. Be prepared.
All right.
Okay.
So here we go. Today's question, because I'm a huge fan of Back to the Future and time travel and all of that. If Doc and Marty showed up in the DeLorean and said, "Get in, we can go to any time you want, whether it's future or past, for one day," which time would you go to and what would you do?
Oh, good question. Oh, okay. I would like to be teleported back to 1961 as a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
and be brought to a Chicago Blackhawk game, winning the Stanley Cup in 1961.
Nice.
I like it.
That's great.
I like it.
That's awesome. How about you?
I'm going to take a page out of Dan's book and go sports. I'm going to teleport back to 1958, February the 3rd, which was 3 days before the Munich Air disaster, when Manchester United played, and we're going to watch Duncan Edwards play football.
Nice.
That's what I'd like to see.
Wonderful.
My dad always said he was the greatest football he'd ever seen. Where are you going?
I don't know the exact date and year, but I think it's like June 7th or July 7th. Don't know the year, but it would be in Liverpool at St. Peter's Church, and just see the time when John Lennon met Paul McCartney for the first time.
Oh, that's a cool one.
That would be
that'd be
amazing.
Yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
incredible.
Well, I think all three of us and just about every musician on the planet's been influenced by them
Definitely.
some way, shape, or form, even today.
No, incredibly so.
Well, I was born in Liverpool. Actually, that's my claim to fame right there. I was born in Liverpool and moved to America when I was 6 years old. But when I was a kid, obviously just surrounded by everything the Beatles. So my musical journey was greatly, mainly inspired by John, Paul, George, and Ringo.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, like I said, today's special guest is Dan Clancy, lead vocalist from Lighthouse. But what we'd like to start with, Dan, is finding out about your career pre-Lighthouse. How did it start for you? What was your musical career like that? What kind of stuff did you do early days?
Well, I think like most musicians and or vocalists, they began with one of their parents at some church.
Yeah.
In a choir or in a folk group or a collective of the two, and sort of that's how it sort of began for me. And then from there, I ended up meeting some friends in high school, and we started up. I had my first band when I was 11 in elementary school.
Great.
Called Courtesy. There was a 4-piece band, and we used to do all of these contemporary songs at the times when I was 11. So it kind of, the bug bit me then, and basically it was there and church music combined, and sort of basically to the point where I began actually earning a dollar or two performing, and I got bitten by that bug a little bit too, and I think maybe that was maybe the worst bug to have bitten me, because it kept me doing it.
Yeah.
Even till now. So yeah, I've been like a professional, I think, now since I was 17.
That's awesome.
Currently, I'm 62. I'm in my 63rd year. So
good stuff, isn't it? Though this year's been a strange one, but we sure miss what we do.
Absolutely.
Because it is such a wild and crazy year, but we still try to do the best we can. Like I was mentioning to you and Nick earlier, Terry, that even if we go out on the street corner, if we're allowed, out in front of the local liquor store and play a tune or two, it's always good.
It really is, yeah. And you can't beat the physical interaction, even if you forget the music. I always say to people, just now we're talking about virtual concerts, which a lot of people are doing and stuff. But I think the reason people go to concerts, it's not so much the music, it's the physical experience of being in the same room as the people and hearing the end and feeling the energy of the music.
Absolutely. And that interchange between the people who are watching you and the energies and the emotion that they basically turn back to the stage, and then it's turned back to them. And that continuum is something that I think that most of us really live for and enjoy. And then that wonderful meeting people after the show and just asking them, who they are and what they do in their lives, because really we're very fortunate to be able to do and share the gifts that we have and to try and make people forget about the craziness that goes on in this world. So it's really difficult now under these circumstances. But, I really believe it's going to come back again. It's just, we just have to wait this thing out for another year or so, or, however long it takes.
Yeah,
just try and get through it.
So I know how it was, being raised in England around all the British music scene, and now that I moved to America, I've gotten stories from a bunch of people who were raised here with the American music scene. But I'd love to hear from you what it was like being raised around all the amazing music that came out of Canada. What was that like?
It was almost serendipitous, which is kind of funny, because for me, being in Lighthouse, I've been a member of Lighthouse since 1992. When Bob McBride, the singer that everybody is familiar with his voice, was ill. He became ill, and then so they asked if I'd come in and replace him, and we had a relationship prior to that anyway. We sang on commercials together, so we really were familiar with one another and friends, and so that's kind of the reason why I was brought into the fray by Skip Prokop, the founder of Lighthouse. And it's funny because I remember when I was like a young kid, 14, going to a local fair, and music of Lighthouse was playing in the background during all of the everything that was going on at the fair. And I just bought a couple of their albums when I was like 13, 14, and then fast forward to when I was 16, 17, and I ended up singing at a wedding north of here. And who would be at that wedding but Skip Prokop as a guest? And
wow.
he and his wife, Marcia, approached me right after I sang. I sing church music, so I was singing the ceremony music for this wedding. They came up to me and asked me, he said, he was very complimentary. And he said, I'm right in the middle of, he had left Lighthouse for a bit. He was doing some production work. And he said, I'm thinking about putting my own band together again. And would you be interested? And I said, absolutely, I'd be honored. So sure enough, I was second year of college. And he called me up in January and said, do you want to join the band? So I quit college.
Wow.
Nice.
Joined that band. And then that band went on for some time. And then basically after 2 or 3 years of touring all over, we basically stopped for a while, and then Skip had me singing on commercials, and I met Ralph Cole, and I sang on commercials, and then basically, so it was so funny that it all of a sudden happened that I was called upon to be the next singer in the band. So
That's awesome.
That's great stuff.
That is really cool.
strange, isn't
When
it?
we come back after the break, I'd love to talk about the cruise specifically, actually, and that life and how that is for you. We spend quite a bit of time on ships, but that was a very different cruise, and those charter cruises are something else. So we'll talk about that and a little bit more Canada, maybe the food, the weather, the exchange rate, some of that kind of stuff. When we come back after the break, we'll see you after the break. Don't go away.
Life is a journey, and everybody's going somewhere. Why wait for the fun to start when you reach your destination? With TAD Travel, the fun starts the moment you leave your door, wherever you're going, and however you want to get there. We've got it covered. TAD Travel. We're going places. Are you coming with us?
And we're back with part 2 of TAD Talk with Dan Clancy. This is going to be fun this half. We're going to talk about all things, but I know you love a lot of Canadian music now, and 2 of your favorites are Lighthouse and Tragically Hip. I know you had a question about that.
Well, Tragically Hip, they're, as ironic a name as they have it, it really is a tragic story because the lead singer, Gord Downie, passed away recently, a few years ago, and the story is he had cancer, and he did one last big hurrah, one big tour around Canada. And it's another one of those things where a lot of Canadian music never made it out of Canada, despite the major success they had. And in Canada, for their very last show, Tragically Hip did, that show was broadcast to all of Canada, and I think like 12 million people watched it.
Is that right?
They were huge, and still are. And Gord Downie passed away, and it's just a really, really sad story. But the fact he got to go out on his own terms was a really inspiring thing to see. I wanted to know, since obviously you're in the same region and same time, did you ever have any experiences on stage or off stage with Gord Downie or Tragically Hip?
Absolutely, Nick. Actually, where he was born and raised was in Kingston, Ontario, which is actually about 2 hours east of where I live.
Okay.
And the wonderful thing about, you had mentioned about the adulation and admiration for Gord as a poet laureate, musician, is the country didn't matter demographically whether you were 10 or if you were 70. We really, it was almost like we lost a family member. And the whole country from coast to coast, you had said it, Nick, it was almost like you lost someone and it was your family funeral. And so it was kind of a really wonderful connecting. That's what I find about our country, and in many ways is, even though we're from different areas and sections, we're still connected, and geographically it's quite a large country. So to have that sort of feeling is wonderful. And it's funny because when Gord, I think this was probably about 8 years ago, we were playing up north at one of the vacationing resorts, summer resorts. And I went to the front desk of the hotel we were staying at, and we were performing there, just us, Lighthouse. And the girls were all giddy at the front counter, and I said, so what's happening? And they basically said, Gord Downey was just here. And I guess what happened was he took his wife and his children up to this resort to come out and watch Lighthouse perform, which was a real honor.
That is awesome. Did he get to meet him?
I didn't get a chance to speak because, you know, he likes to kind of keep to himself and that sort of thing. But I reached out to his brother after his passing. I had written a song for him in memory of him because he was honored by our Indigenous community here in Canada, one of the many because of the nations. Yeah. And they gave him the spirit name Wikapi Omane, which means man among the stars. And so, I wrote a tune and actually sent it to Michael, his brother, and he thanked me.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, isn't it funny how it's like, they were pretty tight. The musician community is pretty tight.
Yeah, definitely.
I find, and that's a wonderful thing, you know. We all really respect each other and support each other. And I love, you guys must the same. It's much like on a tour, like on a cruise ship. I love it when there's a number of musicians, singers, bands all together, and we all get to sort of go and watch each other play. And and then we get to hang out, and like that is Xanadu for most of us.
Well, that was brilliant. The cruise, the On the Blue cruise in 2018, I think it was.
Because it's an annual thing, and I think I know that you've done a few of them, right? You've done it for quite a few years now, and
I think we did 4.
Yeah.
4 of them.
Well,
yeah, it's fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we went on with a Frankie Valli tribute that we do.
And great.
Thank you.
It was. I remember I was there. My wife and I went there after because you had mentioned to me you and I can't have the time. We might have been texting each other back and forth. So we came out to see you perform the one. There were some technical issues, but you know, the cool thing was that I really liked about it, Nick, was first off, you and the group sounded fantastic.
Thank you.
And when there was a technical error or a technical issue with what was going on with their crew and what else, you guys were good. You kept your cool. You didn't lose your marbles.
The show must go on. The show must go on.
Yeah, yeah. And your staff who was trying. Your dad might have been part of that staff. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure they addressed it as professionally as possible.
Yeah, externally. Yeah, it was interesting.
To give a little backstory on this On the Blue cruise for those watching, I mean, we were on there as December '63, and we were at the very bottom of the bill, but we were on the bill. We were on the bill. And Lighthouse was on as well, which was incredible. But then you have all of these, you know, Todd Rundgren was on it. You have the Alan Parsons Project. You have not Jeff Lynne, but ELO.
The orchestra.
Yeah, the orchestra. You have Danny Serafin's Chicago. You just all of the zombies. Oh my gosh!
Rick Derringer. Yeah, it was a great eclectic grouping of people. And actually, Nick, I don't know if you noticed or not. No, you probably wouldn't because the light's in your eyes when you're on stage. But Todd was in there when my wife and I went in to see you. Todd was coming out with his wife.
Oh wow!
And so, like, the cool thing is for you, just so you know, like, that's what I mean. We all kind of went to see each other. Didn't matter, you know.
Great supportive.
Yeah, it was about the environment and the music and the fun, and it's that's the wonderful thing about that. Like, we all really admire and respect each other for what we do.
Absolutely.
Because it's never easy. It's never easy being in the trenches when you're sort of on the front line, right? Which is, and then it is easy, but you know what I mean. I mean, we all respect those levels. Doesn't matter what they are. To me, it's all one big level.
Yeah.
It's the fact that we get to share our gift with everybody, and it doesn't matter in what capacity.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've interviewed a few people who have been part of bands on TADTalk through the months that we've been doing it now, and a lot of them unfortunately say that the band broke up due to differences of opinion or clashing of personalities, which is, you know, it happened so many times. Even the Beatles went through it, and ABBA, and all of these bands. When we saw you on the cruise, I mean, obviously the band itself has been going from 60s and 70s, and then you joined in 90s, and now it's still going today. So it seems to me like the camaraderie between all of you on stage is sincere and healthy and just positive in every sense. Am I right in thinking that?
You're right on. I mean, we're one big, crazy, lovable, happy family. I mean, even through what we're experiencing now, we connect with each other on a group email. We send jokes to each other, little vignettes. We'll phone each other. How you doing? What's going on? You know, that sort of thing. So we have our bassist, Doug Moore, who's one of the main songwriters too in the band. He was with Skip. He puts out a bi-weekly newsletter.
Does he really?
and he pokes a lot of really good fun at everyone in the band, and it's just one of those things that leaves you in hysterics. So I'll send it to you next so you get a chance to read it to see how crazy this guy is. You and your dad, you and Terry can read it.
Oh, brilliant. You know what?
Yeah, we are very much close together.
That's great.
I went on that cruise not to perform. Actually, Anne and my wife and I went on just actually as passengers, mostly to see December '63 perform, and some of the for me, I was looking forward to seeing Todd, obviously, and some of the stuff, but I didn't know at the time that one of my musical heroes was Bill Champlin from Chicago. And a bunch of other stuff. And Bill was on the ship. So a friend, long story, but a friend of mine knew Bill, texted him, he gave him my number, we connected. And Bill came in, I think, very reluctantly to see, with his wife, to see December '63. We said hi to him. He said, I'm going to stay a couple of songs, we're going to go for dinner. Long story short, he stayed the whole show and loved it. And met the guys after the show, but it was funny because I don't know if you know Bill well, but he's a brilliant songwriter, phenomenal singer. And one of the guys in the band didn't know who he was, even after hearing his name. This is Bill Champlin from Chicago. So he said quite innocently, so do you write your own material? So Bill says, you know, I wrote a little song, it's called After the Love Is Gone. It was recorded by Earth, Wind and Fire. Do you know that one? And we're all going, wow, that's good. But the coolest part, and I think it talks to you, what you said about our community of entertainers and musicians and performers, is that here's one of my musical idols who I would have been perfectly satisfied with just meeting and having 5-minute chat. And we ended up meeting every morning at the coffee shop when it opened because it's what we did, was get coffee early. And I got to spend an hour with Bill every morning just chatting about everything. Everything from music to sports.
On the cruise, yeah, see, that's the wonderful thing.
Yeah.
A couple of years earlier when we were on the cruise with the Zombies, because the Zombies had done every one that we had done. And we ended up talking to Jim Rudford?
Yeah.
Jim, the bassist.
Yeah.
For the Zombies, and what a fantastic man he was. And he talked about his time with the Kinks, playing with the Kinks. And you know the story about the Kinks, the two brothers, they were such in love with each other.
Same name.
Yeah.
But Jim was wonderful because he spent time with us, and we just met, same thing as you, Terry. We met every evening for a beverage.
Yeah.
And basically he shared stories about the Kinks and shared stories about his work with Rod, like Rod Argent, right? And
exactly.
Because they were cousins, right?
Yeah.
And wow, it was so sad when we lost him. We were just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, amazing.
Wonderful to share the stories with.
We actually have Colin Blunston from the Zombies. He's on this show with us next month. So we're excited to speak. Colin's a wonderful person.
Oh my God! I've been following him since even before, when he was with Zombies, but when he started singing on Alan Parsons' projects, and he sang "The Eagle."
Yeah.
Oh man! So anyway, I had words with him. Like we spoke a little bit when we saw each other on the cruise, and he was kind enough to have his photo taken, which was really nice. And it was just such an honor to kind of shake his hand and
Absolutely.
A fellow vocalist, right? It's a lot of fun. Although, I mean, he's incredible. So
still incredible.
Say hi to him for me.
Yeah, I will. We'll do that for sure. What were you going to say?
I wanted to ask you, since you've kind of been through it all, the way of receiving music has changed so much through the years, from records through 8-tracks, through cassettes, through CDs, and now we're at, and then it was iTunes, and now it's Apple Music and Spotify and more of the streaming in it. I'd love to hear what your opinion is on how you've seen that progress through the years, and then now how the music industry is going to continue into the future with this new streaming mentality in mind.
Sure, Nick. Well, the regression, and by that what I mean is, big business always wins.
Yeah.
It's part of the game that we're in. We choose that world, and so from a business perspective, you really have to be wary. You have to be kind. You have to be conciliatory, as you would as a writer if you're co-writing with people. But it's the way of the future, and things will progress to even more above and beyond where we are. But the sad thing is that the artists really don't benefit much from streaming financially when it comes to right down to it. I mean, you get millions of streams and you make maybe 15 cents or something like that. I'm being precocious there, but I'm just saying. We still know, and it has been up until that point, that most of the income earned by performers is from performance and selling T-shirts.
Yeah, merchandise. You're right.
That's where you make all your coin, right? All your money. Not that it matters, but it also allows you to give more. Yeah. If that's the way we are inclined. I tend to be that way. I figure this is great. I have more. I can give more. So I'm not sure how that's all going to play itself out when it comes to the monetization of things and how evenly and equally distributed it is. I don't think there's going to be much of a difference from what we've experienced for the past 50 or 60 years. The big boys always win.
Yeah, tough, isn't it? It's but it'd be interesting. We will. It has a habit of this vicious circle. It turns around, So I think we're in a slump right now, and I think we'll come back. And
I believe so too, Jerry. I believe so too. The great thing is that now, and I tell young people who I work with, because I teach young students vocal and songwriting and a little bit of business acumen, things of that nature. The great thing is that everything is so cost effective now. I mean, you can do everything in your bedroom.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's the incredible thing about it, and that becomes a global, worldwide hit and launches careers. Like Billie Eilish, for example, her brother is the brainchild of that, and he's brilliant, and he recorded her multi-million selling album out of the bedroom of their house that they live with their mom.
Yep.
So that's the incredible thing is, whereas back, Terry, you can remember this, when we used to go in the studio, it was like 200 pounds an hour.
Oh, it's crazy. I had my first record, vinyl, was a 7-inch, 45 RPM single. It's called Walkabout, and the flip side was called It's Too Late. So it had an A side and a B side, and I don't know, I think we spent something like 2 or 3 days in the studio recording, another couple of days mixing. It was a massive amount of money. And then you had to wait something like, I don't know, a month or two before you actually got the physical product. And when you got that record in your hand, boy, was that a good feeling.
Yeah.
You don't have that anticipation anymore with music. It's recorded this morning and you're listening to it this afternoon.
Yeah, it's exciting. I remember the first time I heard me singing on the radio. Well, sorry, not the first time. First time with Lighthouse. because we recorded an album in 1996 that I was fortunate enough to collaborate on, writing-wise. It was funny. I don't know if you can see this. I got this little earring here, right? My parents were a little strict, and they didn't like anything like earrings or tattoos. It was bad enough I had long hair at the time. Good old days. Anyway, having said that, with this earring, my mother would say, I'd say, you know what? If ever I get I'll tell you what, I'd love to get an earring. She says, you're not getting an earring. And I said, no, that would be great. She says, you'll never get an earring. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. If I ever get played on the radio, I'll get an earring. Is that cool? She says, yeah, thinking that I would never be on the radio. And it ended up, they played our song on Chum FM, which is one of the big stations in Toronto, the Toronto area. And they played at Chum FM, and it was August 22nd, 1996. The very next day, I took my two oldest sons at the time, who were like 10 and 8 respectively, and the three of us went out and got earrings.
Wow. Great.
That is awesome.
Love it.
I want to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Because obviously you've known Julia now for a few years as well, because she used to work at the casino up in Canada, and you were...
Yeah, she was our FOH there.
Yeah, she was amazing. She's an amazing sound technician, and she's seen your show multiple times because you used to come in and do your show there. And she says you do an impression of a certain singer, and she says that you are as close, like if you closed your eyes, you would think that the actual singer is there. Which performer is she talking about?
Boy, it could be one of many, because, it might be Roy Orbison.
That's the one.
Was that the one?
That's the one.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so, I mean, kind of became a chameleon of sorts, as you know. Like, usually people like to sort of hear some similarity, and as a vocal teacher, I'm also aware of placing the voice and where you can get different sounds from the gift that we have, and so it's always nice to do that. But yeah, that's funny, Roy Orbison.
Is there? I have. You know what? She's told me all about it, and I've never heard it or seen it. Is there a clip somewhere in the ethers of the internet somewhere?
Actually, there will be, because I just actually I did one of those driveway concerts a couple of weeks ago, and I think someone might have videotaped it. So I'll see if I can track it down, and I'll send it your way, Nick, so you've got something.
Absolutely. That would be awesome.
I like to pay homage to some of the incredibly famous singers, and Roy Orbison, one of the best singers of all time.
Absolutely.
What an incredible voice.
Yeah.
I know we're running out of time here a little bit, but I have one more question.
And I've got a couple of things I want to ask too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. One of them that I wanted to ask is, if you could narrow your musical inspiration down to 3 artists, 3 singers or 3 musicians or bands, who would you narrow that down to? Only 3.
Cool. David Gates from Bread.
Okay.
Fabulous.
Paul Rogers from Free.
Ooh,
nice.
Company. And that's a good one. I don't know. I'm kind of one of those sentimental guys. I like to rock, of course. John Denver, I always liked him. I don't know why.
Nice.
He's good. What about you?
3?
3. Narrow it down to 3 musical influences.
Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Has to be. Billy Joel. John Williams, the film composer.
Fantastic.
And probably it's got to be George Harrison.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so surprised you did not say Roger Joseph Manning Jr.
He's amazing. And very recently, I've been very inspired. Have you heard of that band, a band called Jellyfish?
I don't know that I have, Nick.
They came out in the 90s, and they have an album called Spilt Milk. And I'll send you some stuff, because I was introduced to them a couple of years ago, and they blew my socks off. So
one of the best bands we've ever heard. One of the best albums I've ever heard, actually.
Yeah.
So good.
What were the things that you wanted to talk
My
about?
are you not picking my three?
I didn't really care, but if you wanted to, no. What are your three? What are your three?
I'd like to hear it, Gary.
I'm older, but I'm still gonna get hip. I think Georgie Fame,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
definitely in my early days. Billy Joel. Billy Joel, he's an incredible lyricist. No, I'm picking four.
Okay.
I have to pick four. Dan Fogelberg. I think Dan Fogelberg.
Longer than great.
Yeah, I think he's one of the most underrated songwriters ever. His material, Leader of the Band, and Same Old Lang Syne, and Hot Hotels, and Run for the Roses, and Believe in Me, and so good. And finally, that you laugh at, but Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gilbert O'Sullivan is so much more than Alone Again Naturally.
Yeah.
So many songs. So, yeah, those are my three. Anyway, I know we're running out of time. I want to talk Canada. Today, Dan, we were supposed to be on a plane today going to Barrie, Ontario.
Okay. That's an hour and a half north of here.
Is that right? We were flying there, and the travel ban has made it that we cannot go. We're now going on December 21st. We're going to spend Christmas in Barrie.
Fantastic.
We're going to spend time with Julia's parents. So
Well, let's connect. We'll connect. Because we're just like, honestly, we're like an hour and 20 minutes from there. So
we would love
Absolutely. Come sledding with us.
to.
we'll go mask sledding.
Yeah,
Exactly.
So that was my question. If we're going, if you're going to tell someone who knows nothing about Canada, i.e. me, have you got your mask?
There we go. Is this it now?
Yes, there you go. Mask
Honestly,
sledding.
I'm innocent.
I
Anyway.
never been to Canada other than sailing in and out of Victoria on a ship. I'm going to
Oh.
Barrie, Ontario. I'm going to be there for Barrie for 9 days with Julia's parents. Anne and I are staying at Lount Castle, which looks fantastic. And I know we're going to Niagara Falls for the Christmas lights and stuff. But if you can give me three things that I must do, things to eat, things to sample, places to go. What three things can I not miss doing when I go to Canada this Christmas?
Oh, that's a tough one because you can't go all the way to BC or the East Coast.
No, gotta be in Barrie or around that area.
Barrie. Well, Aurelia is a cute little town. You can always see it, but it's in the winter months, so it's really difficult to say, beginning of the winter months. Three things.
Even if it's just eating things or experiencing things.
Oh,
Well, I'm going to start with Smokes Poutineery. You got to go to Smokes.
Smoked
There you go.
poutineery?
Yeah.
Oh, I know you can do it. If you do, you're in Barrie, and if you do go to Aurelia, there's a really nice little bakery downtown there. I can't remember the name of it, but it's fantastic. It's off the charts good. Everybody in Aurelia knows what it's called. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's in Aurelia, and it's all homemade, and it's
Great. Okay.
Sure.
A bakery in Aurelia, smoked
and my second
poutineery,
one would be
and what
Okay.
else?
Yeah.
so my other two would be the bakery in Aurelia, and the third one would be the bakery in Aurelia.
There you go. Okay. I'm going to spend 9 days at the bakery.
There
And
you go.
and he's never had Timmy's.
Oh, you're not missing anything. I'm glad my wife's not around here because she has an app on her phone, and she has every Tim Hortons on her phone. She knows exactly where they all are. She knew beforehand because our kids all played hockey, and she knew every Tim Hortons in every small town in Ontario. Anyway,
Wow. Well, we hope to be able to hook up with you in December. That would be great.
Absolutely.
Talk.
absolutely. I'll throw in Elton John and Kenny Rankin, two other influences of mine, which I loved.
Yeah.
Elton's
Very
amazing.
much. Yeah, very much so.
Sure.
So we end our show down with these random either-or questions. We don't know what we're going to ask. You don't have any time to think about it. You simply got to say one or the other. Okay? All right. I'll start off. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Nice. Immediately. I'm allergic to cats, so I'm legally not allowed to say cats.
Okay.
But I'm going to say Smokes Poutineery or Cadbury chocolate?
I have to go with the chocolate, even though I'm not a big chocolate fan.
Okay.
East Coast Canada or West Coast Canada?
East Coast Canada, Lordy Thunder and Jace.
Who was it we had on from Great Big Sea? Remind me.
What was his name?
From Newfoundland.
Bob
Hallett was on from Great Big Sea. He was on our show
fantastic.
about a month ago, and yeah, it was every other word was, what was that? Okay, your turn.
Okay. It's a good one. Elton John or Paul Rogers?
Oh, not fair. For his training and brilliance, Elton John. For his soul and fantastic voice, Paul Rogers.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Tim Hortons or Starbucks?
Neither. I drink instant coffee out of a jar.
I have a great coffee story for you. This will take 2 minutes. We were in Cartagena in Colombia. We just got off a ship. It was the second time we were there. First time we hung around the cruise port. Second time we said, let's get a driver and let's go into the town, get away from the touristy area and find a real Colombian coffee shop. We just want to sample what the locals do. So we got this great driver who I actually still know to this day. And he drove us around to see some cool things. And we said, we just want just a little hole-in-the-wall coffee shop with real good Colombian coffee. We've got in the store, there's a line waiting to go in, this tiny little store. And we're in line and we're talking with the driver and with us. And the guy in front of me heard us talking, a Colombian guy in a suit, turned around, he said, oh, I can hear the accent. He had American accent, but he's Colombian. He said, where are you from? I said, from Phoenix. What are you doing in this part of town? Usually down by the port. And I told him the story. He says, well, this is cool. I said, so we've come here for the best coffee in Colombia. Our driver told us this is the best. He said, this isn't the best. So I said, well, where's the best? He said, there, across the street. And it was Starbucks. And he was serious. He said, that's the best coffee.
That's a beauty.
Go on.
Yeah, another one? All right. Sunny Days or Broken Guitar Blues?
Broken Guitar Blues.
Nice. Why's that?
Rocks.
Nice. Have you heard that one?
I have not.
It's a good one. It's literally about a... which member? It's a true story. Which member was it that this happened to?
Ralph Cole wrote the song. Air Canada broke the neck off his Flying V Gibson guitar.
Wow.
Oh.
Snapped the headstock off it. So, and he was supposed to be performing with it. So I don't know what he did at the show, but yeah, true story.
All right, last one. John, Paul, George, or Ringo?
John.
Nice.
It's really interesting what people say to that. You've got very definitive. If it's a John guy, it's John. If it's a Paul, it's usually Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I like the maverick bad boy fight for rights.
Yeah.
Doesn't care what negativity it brings on him. The fact that he loved people.
Absolutely.
That was John for sure.
And anyone who says Ringo just has TV jingles on their phone. So
you know what? There's bits of all of them that are endearing.
Absolutely.
Like I love George too because he was a quiet, gentleman, beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing songwriter
and very
too.
much like John. Like he and John, they were very much that way. They weren't show busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but they weren't. Whereas Paul and Ringo, a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
I've said no one agrees with me, but I've said for a while that Ringo is in some ways is one of the more influential Beatles members of the Beatles, only because he wasn't the greatest drummer, but he did things that no other drummer at that time would have done. Things in like Come Together and stuff that he played.
Oh.
And it took the song in a different direction that it would have done with your standard, guy that's playing in eighths.
Absolutely. When you listen to their catalog, like even songs like This Boy,
Yeah.
and, just what he played.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exactly what the song needed. Yeah.
Because he was the opposite way as drumming, right, Terry? Like he wasn't the standard 76% drummers are this way, where your snare is on your left hand and your hi-hats this hand. It switched over.
That's right. No, it was interesting. But we could have a whole conversation just about the Beatles.
Absolutely.
Oh, when you come to Barrie.
Yes, done.
When you come to, we'll try. Here's what we might do. We might try to meet up at that coffee shop or that bakery in Aurelia.
I love it.
I'll information. I'll send it to you both, and then you'll have directions. You'll know where it is, and we'll get together and we'll have a COVID-19 coffee.
I look forward to it.
If that's okay with you guys.
That would be great. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for being on the show, Dan. This has been a blast.
It's been
great. Pleasure. Nick and Terry, thank you so much for being so gracious.
I've got one last either or. Logic Pro or Pro Tools?
Logic.
Yeah.
We're the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
This has been great, right?
Yeah, this is awesome.
All things Canada.
Love it.
I love it. All our Canadian shows have been great. Thanks so much, Dan. To everyone watching TAD Talk, thanks for being with us today. This has been one of the better ones. It's been awesome. We'll see you on the next episode of TAD Talk. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
Many blessings, guys. Thanks so much.